Okay, here's the problem. We have a Power Edge PE550 Weedeater edger, and as you can see, pull cord or the spring return on the starter is sprung. I can't start it anymore. Although I paid maybe $129, $139 for this thing back a few years ago. Hate to throw it out just because I can't get it started because of the spring return. Actually, I have been able to start it, but it's pretty dicey with just that little bit of cord left. So what we're going to try to do today, without any help or instructions, of course, who needs instructions, we're going to try to fix it. We'll see what's wrong. I suspect there's a spring broken, but we'll see when we take it apart. At any rate, to get started, need a few basic tools. I didn't have any instructions on how to do this. It just took a little while to look over the Weedeater and determine which parts needed to come off, and it wasn't really that difficult, as you'll see. I don't have a workshop here, but my father-in-law suggested I make this dandy little table that folds up against the wall in my garage. I could show you that, but that's for another time. So first thing I'll do is set this Weedeater edger up on top of the table, and let's see how we take it apart. I don't have a clue, but let's find out. Well, the cord goes right back into that little grommet or whatever it is there. It looks like all of this is in front of it, so somehow all of this stuff's got to come off. Let's see. After careful inspection, you can see a lot of little Torx nuts here. A lot of little Torx nuts here. I don't think these have to come off, but what I do see down in this hole, let's see if I can get some light in there. Okay, right in there, you zoom back out so you can get some idea of where this is located. There's a deeply recessed Torx in there, and there appears to be 3 of them. There's another one buried. There's another one buried down in there, right in there. You can't see it very well here, and would appear there's another one behind the blade, right in there. Again, I don't think you can see it, but at any rate, apparently there's 3 of them. Let's see if we can get a Torx driver. If you don't have one of these, you should get some, because more and more of these products you see coming for home use, and commercial for that matter, seem to be using these Torx. They actually are pretty nice. They don't strip out as easily. But we're going to use that. We're going to stick it down in this hole right here and take 3 of those nuts out. As you can see, if you didn't have a long Torx, it'd be hard to get down into these recesses and get these out. But this is the last one. I don't want to bore you with the 3 taken out, and I'll show you what happens next, I think. Let's hope. Alright, I got all 3 of those Torx screws loose, so I'm ready to start trying to pull this thing apart now. And I think all I'm going to have to do here is reach in here and slide all of this off. Now, as you can see, the fuel tank is attached to it, but I think that's just going to pop off. Let's see. Yep, it does. So I can lay that over to the side, and all of this mechanism now, that's my blade and height adjustment, all that, I'll just set it over here to the side. Now, what are we looking at? Heavens, I don't know. Let's see here. It says on here, if you've gotten this far, you're lucky. It says hold to turn nut. So I guess we're going to take this nut off next. Okay, so we've got to loosen that nut, we've got to hold this. Want to be careful, I suspect you don't want to scar this up. That's a clutch. Got some junk on it there. That's a 1/2 inch. So we'll put see if we can be very careful not to scar the edge of this, but get a good grip on it. That's the wrong way. And let's break that loose. There we go. I cheated a little bit. Okay. Got it loose. And let go of everything. Nut, washer, clutch, and then let's see here. Make sure we keep everything in the right order, don't we? A little wind blowing out here today. There's also a key here, retainer, and I'll get a pair of needle nose and see if I can get those off. Alrighty, let's see here. See that? There's a, let's see, there it comes, off. And once again, we've got the dogs here that engage here when the motor's running, I suppose, and makes the blade go around. Take that off. Remember that's down. Then we should be able to bring all of this mechanism back out. Okay. And here we go. Oops. Well, let's just lay those to the side. And here we have the spool. And I think down in here, you can see that, appears to be the spring. Need a screwdriver now, don't I? So here we go. Let's take this out. And sure enough, here we go. Spring. Now, what do we got here? If you look at this thing, you can tell that it's not in good shape. In fact, you can see it broken in there. So, no doubt, we're going to have to find one of these someplace. Where do you think we can find it? Well, hallelujah. Let's fast forward about a week from Sears Online Parts and Repair Service, and voila, I found a spring. I think it was a grand total of about somewhere around $4, and with shipping and everything, it probably came to 10. Fortunately, I'd ordered something else and kind of got to double up. I had a part for a trash compactor I was ordering at the same time, but there it is in its package. Appears to be identical to the one we have, so let's open it up. Okay, let's compare once again. It does appear to be identical. One on the left, of course, being the new one and looking in considerably better shape. So it's a matter of putting it on there now. Let's see what happens. There's a little tang, no pun intended. All right, this little tang that's on the spring has to fit in that slot. And there it slides right on. So now what? The one thing we're going to have to make sure of here is that we have the right amount of tension on that spring. But there's what you have to this point. So let's back off. See, slot in this spool that appears to go, or should go, and match up with the other end of that spring. Now I'm going to pop this grommet out of here. I think it doesn't want to pop, so let's get the screwdriver. There we go. Reason for that is I think we're going to have to figure out a way to wind this thing up a little bit. We're going to experiment some now, folks. Now if you'll notice, this spool has got a slot in it, and I'm putting that cord in that slot, and I'm going to put this on there, and what that should allow me to do is wind this spring up without taking the cord up at the same time. I'm going to put this spool back on there, I think. There we go. Now probably I need to go ahead and secure it so it doesn't pop off as I wind it up. So now we'll put these dogs back in here. Hope everything works the way it should. As I put this back on, hopefully the way it came off. Okay, pin's going here. Pliers again. Snap that on there. There's probably a better way to do this. Probably a better tool for it, but I don't have one of those, so that seems to work. Now that's going to stay on there. Now let's see about winding this thing up. And give it a shot. Let's see if that... So I think that's enough. That would appear to be magic. No slack in the cable. Don't look at my junk on my shelf, but I've got an adequate amount of pressure on the pull cord, but I suspect you don't want too much on there. So now we'll reassemble this thing. Now that we've got the spool back on there, we've got the spring tension, got my retaining pin back in there, dogs are in place. We'll put it back, the clutch mechanism back together. Put that on first. This goes on second. There's a keyway, sort of. Not a true keyway, but washer and nut. And it looks as though everything's working. Let's see if we've got it. It would appear it's working. If we didn't have enough slack, I suppose we could take that all off and wind that spring up again, but it looks like that's going to work for me. So we can put it back together. Now that we've got all this back together, we'll put the tank back on. There's some indentations in the tank, and also note that the fuel lines have some slots that you want to make sure they're back in. I suspect if you don't get them in there, they'll pinch, and you'll wonder why your Weedeater won't run. Okay, the tank's back on. Here's the cutting mechanism. It's also filthy, by the way. If I'd have been a real mechanic here, I'd have fixed this, wouldn't I? Cleaned it up. Okay. Let's see how this all goes. Would appear to go like that. It does. Now, I used a flashlight to help find the heads of the nut, but let's see if they get started. Start them all gently here. Don't need a screwdriver anymore, I think. Tighten this down. So it's all back together now. So we'll give it the acid test here in a minute. Let me get it down on the ground or on the floor and see if it'll start. Very well. New spring. Prime it a little bit of choke. See if we have success.